Hey guys, Ronan here. Welcome on back to the Retrocade. It's Sunday, and that means it is time for the return of one of my favorite features we have on this channel. It is Suckerpunch Sunday, our chance to take a deep dive into a classic fighting or fighting platform-based game from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th generation. If you've been enjoying the content on this channel, as always, best way to show it is to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, ring the bell to be notified of the latest content, and you can also find us on Instagram at Ronan's Retrocade, R-O-N-I-N-S Retrocade, and help us spread the word about our little channel here so we can get up to 100 subscribers or beyond, hopefully, over the next couple of weeks. That way we can unlock the YouTube customization algorithm and make this channel bigger and better. We had our first Sports Saturday feature since the return of the Retrocade yesterday, where we played Mutant League Hockey. It was a lot of fun. I hope you checked that out as well. We will have our one-day features and WTF Wednesday returning down the line as we go, once I get my schedule and everything worked out, now that I'm back in business running this fine channel of mine. Also, I encourage you, if you haven't been following along with us, we are about halfway through our revisitation and our reassessment of the classic 1986 Nintendo Entertainment System game, The Legend of Zelda. We're doing that for a couple of reasons, as I've gone into in each of the 3 episodes I've recorded so far, and my goal is to get the rest of them recorded, and I should have about 3 more done by the end of this week. And if there's a game you would like to see us feature from the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo, the Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, or MegaDrive, SNK, Neo-Geo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, or PlayStation 2, leave it in the comments below or drop me a line on Instagram, and it could be any game from those systems, and I mean any game, obviously so long as it doesn't get me in like adult content warning that you want. But if memory serves, and my memory's pretty good, I don't think there are any that meet that criteria on those systems that you can get in mainstream stores. So, without further ado, for this Sucker Punch Sunday, we're going to go back to 1994 and play the original Tekken. Now, why are we playing this game? Couple reasons. One, if you have gone and taken a look at the games I have played so far as part of this feature, I have tried to stay away from the low-hanging fruit, at least for right now. Not to say I won't at some point, of playing games like Street Fighter 2 or Mortal Kombat. Nothing against those games, but I originally started this feature as part of wanting to explore games that I never really had a chance to play at the time of their release. And while I am very much a PlayStation gamer, I am exclusively a PlayStation gamer outside of my emulators that I use to do these episodes on, I didn't get Tekken when it first came out. And it was one of the original games, and by far one of the most popular games in the first generation of titles that came out as part of the PS1's inventory. So, what we're going to do over the course of the next 25 minutes or so, and it may not go that long, is we're going to try and get through the game. And this is the first time I have ever really attempted to get through the game. I want to see how well it's aged, and, you know, if you take a look at the graphics for a game now that's pushing 30 years old, maybe not so much, but to understand how big a game this was when it came out and how much it was critical to launching the franchise will be part of why I want to give this a go. Now, I remember when Tekken was first released and the hype around it when it came out in 1994. And again, this game was created by Bandai-Namco, and the idea behind it was actually, it was never meant really to be a fighting game, which is the amazing thing. Now, let me pause it right here for a second before we go too far into this. But if you're unfamiliar with Tekken, and as I got my notes right here, the whole point of the idea is that it's built around the name Tekken stands for Tetsu no Ken, which translates from Japanese to Iron Fist. And I love the fact that it's Tetsu no Ken, as one of my favorite anime growing up was Hokuto no Ken. You may know that one better as Fist of the North Star, but I digress. But originally, this was going to be, it wasn't going to be a fighting game. It was going to be something entirely different. And it has 8 playable fighters, and the whole idea is designed to be whoever is going to be the successor to the ultimate boss at the end of this game, who is Heihachi Mishima, who is the head of the Mishima Zaibatsu family empire. So it is all around in much the same way that Street Fighter has the Street Fighter tournament and Mortal Kombat has the Mortal Kombat tournament. The Iron Fist tournament is to decide who is the strongest of the combatants and can take the helm of the empire. But it was originally going to be a racing game, if I understood it right. It was not going to be a fighting game. It was going to be more of a 3D style multi-purpose action game is I guess the best way to say it. Before Namco pinched some developers from Sega who were on the crew who helped create Virtua Fighter in 1993. And Virtua Fighter is a game we're going to play at some point down the line. But because there are so many sequels and so many variations of that game, just as there is for Tekken, just as there is for Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat, you know, you have to pick your battles as you want to go. So what I like about Tekken, and what always interested me about it when I first saw the ads for it, is that it is a game where you don't, it is more purely based on hand-to-hand combat, although granted, Yoshimitsu here has a sword in his left hand, than the stuff that you would see in Mortal Kombat and in Street Fighter. And the ad that always stuck out for me in like EGM and all the big publications of the time when they were talking about Tekken was the pain in your ribs is from a kick, not some wimpy fireball.
You win.
So they were immediately touting it that it was far more a
Round one.
martial arts game than anything else. And you do get grapples in this game, although they're not easy to execute. I'm going to try and see if I can get a grapple on King here. And obviously you can jump, and it is... While it's not true 3D in the sense, because, I mean, you have the 3D polygonal characters, obviously, but the background is not fully 3D. Oh, as I'm going to get suplexed here. Crunch. And I beat him with a boot to the head. But anyway, you have your punches and your kicks, but what I like about this one is it's more...
Round
2.5D, if I remember how they really kind of explain it. There's my grab, and I ball up my fist and bash him with it. Now, the fact that I'm playing as the somewhat cornily named Martial Law, but he looks very much like Bruce Lee, should not be much of a surprise because I am nothing if not a massive Bruce Lee fan.
Round one.
Like a lot of people are. I don't think I'm in the minority when, if you mention the name Bruce Lee, the reason why the greater majority of people love martial arts and love martial arts movies and martial arts games is because of Bruce Lee. As I get my butt thoroughly kicked by Kazuya, who is very much the Ryu of this game, if you want to go one-for-one with Street Fighter. And of course, in Street Fighter, in Street Fighter 2, when they expanded the roster, one of the characters that they put into it was a character named Fei Long, who also was extremely a Bruce Lee clone. Oh, can I knock him out, though? Ow. Oh, he hit me with a hatchet kick. Now, in this game, unlike it being...
You lose. Continue. Round one. Fight.
Or I should say, it is best 2 out of 3. But they don't, at least in the information they give you up top, they don't mark it that it's 3 rounds. You just have to win 2 of them.
KO.
It's like you hit with the axe kick this time. You went upstairs and then back down.
You lose. Round two. Fight.
I think if if I remember right, when I did play a Tekken game because there will be 8 of them. And of course, one of the most popular ones was Tekken Tag Tournament that came out for the PS2. Oh, that was nice. I don't even know how I did that. But I'll take it. But this is not like playing Street Fighter or playing Mortal Kombat in that like a quarter turn up will not give you a Dragon Punch. And each button corresponds with a limb. So, like my square button will give me the left jab. The top button will give me the right cross. Lower buttons will give me a left and right kick. Now, in order to do that... Oh, I actually beat him this time. But you do have to think somewhat tactically. You can't just rush in and overpower a guy all the time. You got to think about at least some idea of how you're going to approach your opponent. But if there is a thing that sets this series apart from Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 2, is that it doesn't muck about. Oh, it's like it flipped right onto my face. Stood up, boot to the head. Good night.
You lose. Round 2. Fight.
My name is Michelle. I will be your orthodontist today. As she just spin kicked me right in the teeth.
KO.
And just like that, I am toast.
You lose. Continue. 8. Round 1. Fight.
I'm only 15 minutes in, and I'm almost halfway through. There we go. If you can get behind them, just pick away, pick away, pick away.
KO.
And headlock, crack to the head, and sit down, madam.
Round 2. Fight.
That and knowing that you cannot utilize the same attacks the whole time, that even though this is the original game, that your opponents had enough built-in intelligence that you couldn't just sit there and stack moves
Final round.
and expect that they were not going to be able to respond somehow. Now I definitely have my work cut out for me here. Oh, good night.
You lose. Continue. Round 1. Fight.
She does that hammer fist. And I will tell you, blocking is not as easy in this game as I suspect it is in later games. And to block, you just simply pull back. But if you... I'm still getting mashed by that hammer fist.
KO.
She leads out with it. And then you think you're out of the way, and she brings it down. That takes out most of your life, and then she follows up, and that's it. Although I'm curious. So hitting the select button does change the view a little bit. I don't know if this will make a difference or not.
KO.
But if Marshall's going to have anything worthwhile,
Final round. Fight.
it'll be his sidekick. Don't go up in the air with her. There we go. Get a grab. Oh, and I still get beat by that hammer fist. And once he gets moving on it, it's just hard to get out of the way. Because your thought is, especially by playing newer versions of these games, because your movement is more three-dimensional, and then you can sidestep your opponent instead of just moving straight forward or straight back. You want to think you're going to step out of the way. Oh, and she gave me the German suplex. And good night. Or no, that's an underhook.
You lose.
Where she hooked the leg and then snapped you over.
Round 2.
German suplex is when they go underneath you, pick you up, and drop you on your head. There we go. Crack. It was said one of the knocks on this game, although it was extremely well received, it is still to this day on the list of many publications when they do like their top 100 games of all time.
You lose.
The original Tekken scores very, very highly. Computer and Video Games gave it a 97%. Edge Magazine gave it a 9 out of 10. IGN was a bit more critical. They gave it a 7.5 out of 10, as I'm still getting throttled here. And part of IGN's knock on the game was that they said that Battle Arena Toshinden, which is a game we've... Ooh, I get suplexed again. Had better graphics. Oh, the belly to back. And Michelle does not muck around.
You lose. Round 2. Fight.
I will say that, and you can go back and watch, my playthrough of Battle Arena Toshinden, which I did. I think I did about 10 or 11 episodes into the series. And while Toshinden came out, man, she is just she's a tank.
You lose.
While Toshinden came out just before Tekken was released.
Round 1. Fight.
Come on. Aw. I would contend that the graphics in this game are actually better. Especially the backgrounds. The backgrounds in Battle Arena Toshinden weren't terrible, but by comparison to what Namco was able to do with Tekken and how they were able to further enhance it over subsequent titles, it's a big reason why Tekken ended up putting Battle Arena Toshinden out to pasture. Fine, when in doubt, I'm just going to sit there and jab you. And then get you with a kick. But Tekken was the first PlayStation game to sell over 1 million units. And in Japan, in 1995, it sold nearly 1 million units. It was the 4th best-selling home console game of that year, behind Dragon Quest VI, Chrono Trigger, and Virtua Fighter 2. It also sold really, really well in the UK. I still get wasted. But overall, in its first 2 years on the market, it sold nearly 1.8 million units. Tekken also was awarded the Guinness Book of World Records title for the first PlayStation game to sell over 1 million units, the first fighting game to feature simulated 3D, which is different than the true 3D format that we have now. And it was also still listed as the best-selling fighting series for PlayStation consoles.
Round 2. Fight.
I will tell you that the difficulty curve is pretty merciless in this game. There we go. I just got to get it down where I need to alternate my attacks better and know where the openings are.
Round. Fight.
Oh, and she got me anyway. I thought I had it.
You lose. Continue. 8. Round 1.
Fight.
Perfect.
And I come back with a perfect. Okay. That may be lulling me into
You
a
win.
full sense of security here.
Round 2.
Fight.
If I get back-to-back... Holy cow, I got back-to-back perfects. It only took me, what, 8 attempts to get Bayer, at
You
least?
win.
But I finally got Bayer.
Round 1.
Fight.
And now we got Jack, who is like their version of Guile. Oh, power slam. And I still got him in the headlock.
KO.
But Jack seems to be all about strength, considering he is very top heavy. He's got those armored gloves.
Round 2.
Fight.
And the way he clanks about, he sounds very much like an android. Now, I don't know the full lore of Tekken, granted, since obviously, like as I said, I haven't played this game
KO.
until now, and it definitely shows as now Jack is taking the role of Michelle
You lose. Continue.
in hammering me
Round
into
1.
putty.
Fight.
Oh, and he's gonna do a power slam again. Think I got him.
KO.
Yes, I did. So one of the comments that came out about this is that they said the original Tekken was far and away the finest beat 'em up to grace the PlayStation so
Round
far.
2.
Fight.
And they called the control system innovative, and I will agree with that. I mean, it's not, once you get the basics down, it's not a hard game to play, which you need in a fighting game. You need accessibility. And then from there, it allows you to start developing a strategy, which in this case means I get the upper hand and then I start getting crushed. Ow! Come on, I almost got him.
KO.
Really? I had him on the back foot, and he roared right back and
Final
demolished me.
round.
Ow! Stop him with the hammer. There we go. It's learning how to alternate between hands and feet.
Round 1.
Fight.
Nice little hand toss there. Ooh, and now she's going for the flips.
KO.
Ooh! I have been officially schooled.
You lose.
Not unlike Street Fighter
Round
2,
2.
they had to make sure they give you different locales to fight in. That's the Parthenon in the background, so we are in Greece.
KO.
There we go. Oh man, she almost got me.
You win. Final round.
Fight.
Come on. Oh, that spring kick. Ooh!
KO.
Man, you just can't roll out of the way in time. And then she does that flip kick
You lose. Continue.
brings the heel down, and then there's no way of getting out of it. Back body drop. Oh, man, she does not, for lack of a better term, she does not pull punches, nor should she.
Round 2.
Fight.
And I do like how we get a variation of fighting disciplines as well in this game, which is a trope, I grant you, but that is part of the appeal. That's why games like these have held up so well, and why they are so critical to especially the early success of most consoles. For a long time, it was you needed to have your flagship titles like Mario Brothers and Sonic and things like that. But when the PlayStation came out, because it was so reliant on Namco to get their early titles and get the system off the ground before they really developed their catalog, they had to bank on Namco giving them enough of a variety of titles. As again, Nina's just leading me up.
You lose. Round 2.
Fight.
To get as wide an interest as possible. So that's why you had games like Ridge Racer, if you like racing games. They had the original Air Combat, which was Ace Combat 1. If you like flight games, they had an outer space game. I think it was called Starblade, if memory serves right. And then they needed to have a fighting game. Well, you had two to choose from. You had Toshinden, and you had Tekken. And it simply came down to the matter of which one had the most appeal.
Great. You lose. Continue.
And as history showed,
Round
as I'll
1.
give this one more go here, Tekken was the one that stood out. And nowadays, it's become the triumvirate of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken is really how it is. And I mean, you can also include, you know, if you really want to go back to like the 16 and the 24-bit era with the SNK Neo-Geo, you had games like Samurai Showdown, which I love. I love Samurai Showdown. I like it far more than I did Toshinden. And then once you got into the 3D era, then you also had games like Soul Calibur / Soul Blade, which we have played before, and things like that. But those ones, like Soul Calibur, never really developed as wide an audience. Not to say it's a bad game. I'm not suggesting that at all. It's a different game.
You lose. Continue.
But that, everybody, is the original Tekken for the PS1. And
5,
again, in trying to give you a reassessment of this,
2, 1.
I will say that
Game
for a
over.
game that is now nearly 30 years old, it's not a bad game. Grant, I will freely concede that, you know, the later versions that have come out, the graphics are better. I'm sure the mechanics are better. They've got more features in it and everything. And that can only make the franchise grow in the way it's needed to. But for a starting point, the original Tekken is actually a really good, solid fighting game. Compared to what it was up against at the time, you know, Street Fighter was still really in the domain of the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. You had Virtua Fighter on the Sega Saturn, but the Saturn was a maligned system that did not get nearly the play that the PlayStation did, and then, you know, once the Xbox came along and things like that, the shelf life of the Saturn was short-lived, and even less so was the Dreamcast. But in the interim, I can understand why a game like Tekken was so critical to making sure that Sony hit the ground running on the right foot to draw and grow the audience it was going to need to become a cornerstone of the next generation video market that it is now. So if you've never played it, if you never got back and played the original Tekken, and you have the means to do so, give it a try. You know, I'm playing this on the PCSXR emulator, so it's not hard to find, and, you know, again, it also supports all the subsequent sequels. So if you don't have access to a PlayStation Classic, or you don't have a PS1 of your own, or you can't get it through the PlayStation Store, then, you know, either way, give it a try. So if you've enjoyed that, and I hope you have, best way to show it is to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, ring the bell to be notified of the latest content. You can also follow us on Instagram at Ronin's Retro Arcade and help spread the word so we can hit our goal of 100 subscribers as soon as possible. We've already seen the numbers go up, of which I am extremely grateful to everybody who has come check out this pokey little channel of mine. Again, we had Sports Saturday yesterday, and we will have both Sports Saturday and Suckerpunch Sunday coming up next weekend as well. And we will be bringing back our one-day features as well as WTF Wednesday, which is a feature where we take a little bit of a dive into games that on paper seem like a great idea, but in actual execution, maybe not so much. They're not bad games. They're just games that kind of defy logic of what most people would think would be a great video game. And if there's a title you would like to see us feature from the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo, Sega Master System, Genesis, or Mega Drive, SNK Neo-Geo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, or PlayStation 2, leave it in the comments below or drop me a line on Instagram, and it can be any game from those systems that you want. As always, my name is Ronin. It has been great to spend this Sunday with you. Be safe, be well, happy gaming, and we will talk to you on Monday when we continue our playthrough of Legend of Zelda. Bye.